self-judgment, that's messianic, and I'm going to put two ideas together just to explain it to people so people can understand. Not that I need to, because I really don't, because, you know, I have absolute authority in this world, like, you know, other than God, and, you know, but, like, I have charge of rent. I don't have to explain anything, but I think that's better for people if you understand, like, in that way you can understand, so you know that you can make your own decision because you have free will to decide and know that I'm doing what's right for you. Okay? Now, granted, some of these things I don't know 100% for sure. Some of them, like, I mean, I'm almost all the time, I'm at least 90% close what I'm talking about. There might be some ins and outs. It might be a little bit different, but I usually know what I'm talking about. So, do we actually know that Satan was inherently bad? I'm not really sure that we know that, because if you go into the old Talmud, the rabbinical texts, Satan isn't called the evil one. He's called the accuser. He's the accuser. He's like God's. He's the tester. Him and God are working together. He sends Satan out, Lucifer out to test man, to challenge him, to trick him. You know, so because God's trying to teach man. And there's another text, but it's later on that Satan and God have a falling out. But I know this because I know this for a fact that, like, but I did it because it's been done to me. You know, God will throw information at you that's false to see how you react and to see where it comes out, because there might be something else he's dealing with, and he'll use you as bait. He could have done the same thing with Satan. You know, it could all be a ruse. Him and Satan definitely could be working together, right? You'd be like, how is that possible? Well, let's go to Zechariah, okay? And that trial is about me, Joshua, the high priest, you know, the prophet, the high priest, you know, to run his house, right? And who's there? The angel of the Lord, the accuser, right, and God, right? And here's why, like, it takes me so long to make decisions on stuff, because I look at all the facts, man, because there's a lot of information, like, that conflicts with each other, right? Because Satan supposedly his fall is pride because he thinks he's better than God. No, actually, he thinks he's better than man. But then in other ways, God entertains him and says, you know what, me and you will make a wager, and you can run the earth, and you can see if you can do what I would do. Well, if Satan and God had a falling out, right, why would he be making a wager? You know, because Satan isn't in hell. Satan is on earth. Satan isn't in any of this. He's on earth. He's roaming the earth. It says so in Job. Where have you been? Where have you been, Satan? I've been wandering to and fro about the earth. So apparently, like, because they make the wager on Job, so apparently they work together, like yin and yang. But they're not completely at odds. Like later on, it makes it out to be. So where that happened or what time frame it happened, but in Zechariah, right? So the accusers of me is Lucifer, Satan, whatever, right? Well, here's the thing: if Lucifer or Satan or whatever, or maybe they're two different entities, right? If Satan, which is stated in Zechariah, is at odds with God and his fall is pride, and he thinks he's better than God, why is he entertaining a trial of God? Where God's judging. Because if his fall is pride and he thinks he's better than God, he'd be like, I don't need to attend your trial. I've already made my opinion. Right? He wouldn't go entertain God's opinion if they weren't working together. That's where it conflicts with other parts of the Bible, or other people's opinions on Satan. But because it states there, right? Satan is the accuser. He's actually called the accuser. They translate it to Satan, the evil one, or whatever, right? The angel of the Lord are making the case. It's like the plaintiff and the defendant's lawyers, right? Like the fucking, like, actually, the accuser, Satan, would actually be the public, or not the public, the state's attorney. He'd be working for God. Like, if you wanted to break it down to lawyer terms, and the angel of the Lord would be like, I don't know who he gave me, Michael or Uriel or Raphael or Gabriel, probably, I don't know, man. You know, maybe Michael spent a lot of time, maybe probably Uriel, maybe, I don't know. But it's because it doesn't state it. But the angel of the Lord would be like my public defender because he defended me, right? And they both made their case against me. And when I talked to Lucifer, like one time, he told me, he goes, Michael and Gabriel lied. He must have been talking about my trial. Michael and Gabriel lied. He was real mad about it. But we're hanging out. He was still on earth, right? But if Satan fall is pride because he thinks he's greater than God, why would he go to a trial where God is the judge? He'd be like, no, I'm having my own trial where I'm the judge. See, that's what I'm saying. That's why you got to step back and you got to look at these things, man. These people, they don't. Have you ever heard anybody give you that opinion before about Zechariah? No, they've never even thought about it because they're already conditioned. This is what it is. That's why stuff doesn't match up. It doesn't match up because some words are wrong, or what the words mean, or if it's translated to Latin or Greek or fucking Timbuktu, go jack me off. That's not what makes it conflicting. What makes it conflicting is that Satan's the accuser here, and over here you're trying to tell me that he's at odds with God and his false pride. But if that's the truth, then Zechariah, one of the two is a lie. They both can't exist, or there's a different timeline, and we're not at the point where God and Lucifer have a falling out yet. Right? That makes sense? Makes sense because it's true. It's true. Which goes back to, like, originally, like, the reason, like, okay, there's the separation of Adam and Eve. I'm not so sure that God didn't fucking send the snake, didn't send the devil to do that, since, in some texts, like, they're working together. He's the accuser. He's the tester, right? Okay. But, who know? I don't know. I don't know that 100%. I'm just saying, like, you got to look at the other texts in the Bible, and then you got to comparative to that. Not like how it's translated from Latin. That's not what makes it fucking make sense. What makes sense is it makes sense somewhere else in the Bible. That's why I told everybody, you guys can't translate the prophecies anymore. You guys don't even know what you're talking about. I listen to a lot of shit that, like, a lot of you guys say. You guys don't even know what you're talking about some of the stuff about what Jesus was saying. I've heard it, and I'm like, you have no idea what you're talking about. Absolutely. And these are some high up people, man. I'm like, you have absolutely no idea. You're so far off. You're so incorrect. It's like you're either in on it, in on the fucking conspiracy, like you're fucking to hold power, or you just don't know, right? And either way, but hold on. Okay, back to what I was saying. So because if God and Satan made a wager, like, God was like, okay, because that's what the wager is after the fall. He's like, they might have made a wager before that, and God made the Garden of Eden happen to cast Adam out, so he could fucking continue his perfect work, because he knows what's going to happen. And him and Satan are like working on it together. It's like a project, man. Who would be closer to God than Satan? He was fucking. But anyway, he's the other angels. And God probably said, but the wager is here. All we can do is influence. But this is Satan. But this is your world, right? It was, and fucking see if you can do what I can do. That's why there's so many laws and rules, man. Because you're not connected to God. We're separated from God. So are the demons, right? They're separated. That's why there's so many laws. Like I don't necessarily know if, like, because God and Satan made a wager that Satan wanted this to be chaos and destruction and keep on. I think he legitimately might be trying to stop sin, just doesn't know how to go about doing it, right? And so he kept making up they make up all these rules. All you need is 10 commandments. Kept making up all these rules. The rules. It's because they don't think like us. They don't reason, and so he has to make up rules because he can't do what God does because he can't connect to us, right? He doesn't have that power. So the only way to entertain that power is to make rules, and it's gotten out of hand. I believe that's what has happened. Now, as far as the intentions behind it, that's another debate. Let's just get to the reason right now, right? That's why it takes me a long time Took me a long time to make. I still haven't made a complete decision because there's a lot of different variables here. But I've thought about all of them. Right. I've thought about all of them. It's not that I'm just like, I don't know what's going on. I've thought about every possible outcome situation. So I'm prepared, man, for whatever. But like, you know, now that story I just told you, or everything that I just told you, it may not all be 100% correct, but a lot of it is. You know, a lot of it is, and as that stuff plays out, like because it's already there and laid out. Whatever the outcome is I'm prepared for, and to deal with however it needs to be dealt with. One more thing, and also what I just said about like that could have been true at one time. You know, that's why I shut down the time frames and the dimensions and everything in this world, other than fucking God can use it, because it creates too much confusion for me right now. Because I get jumped through time a lot, and I see all these different time frames, but I don't get direct answers. So the entity of the devil that I'm dealing with right this second might be a completely different entity than the one that I'll be dealing with in 5 minutes from now, because there might have been there might have been a shift at one point in time. So they're two different creatures. You know. I mean, we're talking about, I don't know, how many billion, infinity, right? This shit's been going on, you know? Where in infinity did it actually go wrong? Well, I can't comparatively take the Garden of Eden and put it anywhere in the timeline of the lifespan of humanity, because it might have happened like a billion years before humanity ever came about. That fight might be old, man. There might have been. That's what I'm saying. Like the stuff that went on in the spiritual world, comparatively, yeah, just because it connects to this physical world, doesn't mean that it happened within our timeline. It just means that they're connected through some kind of dimensional portal, and they can affect each other. That's here or there, man. We're really talking about, like, you know, Satan, the accuser, and the rules, and but anyway, yeah. So that's what I'm saying. So you know that, like, even though I don't need your approval, I don't really need anybody to approve, like, because I had this dream, right, last night, and so I was looking for a place to sleep, and I found these company trucks, and they were all open. I got it. I was like, all right, man. It was real late at night, and it's cold out. I'm sitting there, I didn't even mean to go to sleep. But eventually I fall asleep. Or I get better, I don't know. And I have this dream, and I'm in Las Vegas, right? And I'm at this, and Taylor Swift's there, she's sitting next to me. And I just have this bet that's there, and it doesn't change, but I make the minimum amount of money. And I just keep making it on every bet, and they can't beat me, right? And they're like, we can't do anything about it. We can't do anything about this rule. That's probably the rules that I set up, because I get 3 racks is what I get. I got 3 racks, which is around 30,000, but I'm 3,000, whatever. 3, because I made 3 laws, right? And I get up, and I drop the money, and I tell Taylor, I go, I'm going to go do something. And I pick up the money and whatever. And then all of a sudden, I'm in my dream, I'm in the truck that I'm actually sleeping in right at that moment. But it's daylight, but I don't realize it's daylight. I thought it was really gone. And this car rolls up behind me, this red Prius, which is what got taken last night. And he's beeping on there, beep, 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 beep. And I wake up in my dream, because in my dream, I'm in the car that I'm sleeping. And I get woke up from sleeping in the car. And I get out of the car, and I go back to the car, and he's inside like this, but he's like separated from me. The windows are up, and he won't roll them down. He goes, what are you doing? I go, man. I'm sitting in the car, man. I was waiting for the sun to come up. And I can't remember the exact changes, just the important words, right? And he looks at me, and he goes, I respect your will. God's most promising. He goes, I respect your will, God's most promising tyrant. Like that, giving me that title, right? And But I couldn't get to him. He's like separated from me. He's like separated. And he goes, all right, get out of here now before I make you go back and stock, I don't know, some car part or I don't even know, shafts or whatever. I'm like, all right, man, it takes off. Now, that was probably Gabriel. I don't know, it could have been Gabriel. He sent down to tell me that because it goes along with my other thing. It could have been Satan, the accuser, right? And he's separated because we threw him, because he's chained and he's separated and put off somewhere in another time, and he can't get out of it, talking to me, right? Because he says, I respect your will, blah, 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 you know, because that's part of the statement that I made. Or, yeah, because I made this challenge to God, goes, make Satan do this stuff, see if he can do it. He might have done that, man. Maybe that's what that was representing. Or it could have been God, right? God bullshit. I mean, God telling me, all right, you know, because I couldn't get to him, man. I couldn't get to him. So we were separated. We were separated off. Because I remember I tried to get through the window. I was like, you know, we wouldn't roll down the window and it started fogging up. And he's like, before I make you go back, and I was like, I'll go with you, man. I'll go do that with you. Like I was really happy to fucking go along. I was like, I'll go with you. It's cool, man. And he took off, and then I woke up and I looked down at the odometer, right, and the odometer reads 21, 904, 943, right? I'm in Las Vegas. I got 3 racks. The car pulls up the Prius that got taken in Las Vegas, right? And then the odometer, all of a sudden the light was on. I didn't have keys to the car, and it went on before. And it's 21, 943. And my address in Las Vegas is 904, number 201. Right? Anyway, or it could have been God, man, fucking with me. It was a message from God, anyway. Either way, man, there you go. There's the explanation for you. And that's what this lady's talking on the phone. It's set up to you.